So Bayern are the first team to be out of the pot, drawn by Zlatan Ibrahimovic and Kaká. So they will be the first team that we will know who they will face in this league phase and who will be the 8 opponents coming for this league phase. There's still a bit of chat, and now it's Kaká who just has to press a button and everything is going to appear in front of our eyes. And they will be playing against Chelsea, PSG, Club Brugge, Arsenal, Sporting, PSV Eindhoven, Union Saint-Gilloise, and Paphos. So the big ones from pot 1 with Bayern are Chelsea and PSG. And then they got Arsenal.
I think Chelsea, PSG, and Arsenal, tough games, but the rest, I think they'll be fine. Bruges are decent, but I don't think they give Bayern any problems. Sporting, they might have Ruben Amorim back in charge by then. Who knows?
PSG, top side, Bruges, top side beating Rangers 9-1 on aggregate. Top side.
That's Bayern a decent goal for Bayern.
Yeah, they will be at home to Chelsea, away at PSG, away at Arsenal as well. They're home, but then they have the rest of the home legs are quite easy with Sporting, Union Saint-Gilloise, and Paphos. But you're right, those two very tricky away games for them in Paris and against Arsenal. Second team to be drawn by Ibrahimovic is Chelsea. And Chelsea have Bayern, as we saw, Barcelona, Benfica, Atalanta, Ajax, Napoli, Paphos, and Karabakh. So the big one for them are obviously Bayern and Barca, the second one. They also have Atalanta, Napoli, which is tough, and even probably Ajax.
Karabakh, if that's at home, no problem. If that's away, could be awkward.
Yeah, I will tell you that in a second. Barcelona, Chelsea, Don?
Great games. Absolutely brilliant games. Very early on. I'm a few seconds behind watching the feed. So you look at some of the games early on, and it's mouth-watering, really.
Yeah. And Augie, to answer your question, Chelsea will be away in Azerbaijan against Karabakh. So that's a long, long way to go.
Yeah, I suppose it depends. If that's an early game when it matters, then that's a tricky one. But if it's the last game of the group, and you can rest the players. Very true.
Real Madrid are now being drawn by Ibra and Kaká, and as we know already, because of the way this fell, Real Madrid will face City and Liverpool in their mini league. So that's 2 clubs for sure that they will be facing, and that just on paper is incredible. Juventus as well, Benfica, Marseille, Olympiacos, Monaco. So 2 French clubs for Real Madrid and Kylian Mbappe. And Karat Almaty, for Kara, first time, and you play Real Madrid, it's pretty cool.
That's amazing. What a story that is.
That's incredible.
And back Olympiacos and Real Madrid at Anfield last year as well, weren't they? So another trip to Anfield, which probably the best tie of the round, I guess.
Yeah, they are away at Liverpool, you're right. Away at Olympiacos, away in Karat Almaty.
Oh, that's a sexy group, isn't it?
Trent back at Anfield, guys.
That's a sexy group.
Trent.
City, Liverpool, usually Benfica, Marseille, Monaco.
Yeah, that's amazing. That is really good. I love this Real Madrid group, to be fair, because that's going to be tough for them. Really, really tough. Inter Milan are the next one being drawn. Obviously, the finalist of last season and of 3 seasons ago against City and PSG. And let's see who Kaká's hand has for them in that league phase for Christian Kivu. They will have Liverpool, Dortmund, Arsenal, Atletico Madrid, Slavia Prague, Ajax, and Karat Almaty and Union Saint-Gilloise. So Karat Almaty and Union Saint-Gilloise, okay, but for Inter, Liverpool, Dortmund, Arsenal, and Atletico Madrid.
Yeah, I think Inter are kind of also runs in this year's tournament. I don't think they can repeat what happened last year. Just a quick last on about Trent going back to Anfield. You've obviously been back as a former Liverpool player. What sort of reception will he get in the Real Madrid shirt?
Oh, that is going to be tasty. That is going to be tasty. To be honest, mate, I don't think it'll go down too well. I don't think his reception will be a good one. I think Liverpool fans,
the way it started.
Well, exactly. Liverpool fans already are sort of having a little pop, having a little go. Tongue in cheek, but sitting on the bench. So he swapped being a champion to sit on the bench at Real Madrid. So hopefully it's a good one for him and his family's sake, but it might be frosty.
We had Dortmund draw with Inter Milan, Manchester City to Dortmund, who will travel to Dortmund, Villarreal, Juventus, Bodo Glimt, Spurs for the first time, who will be away at Dortmund. So the yellow wall for the Spurs fan, Athletic Club de Bilbao and Copenhagen. So two more English clubs who've been drawn. If you're a City fan or a Spurs fan, you will have to travel to Dortmund. And that also means that Spurs, then when it's their time to be drawn, will be either getting PSG or Barcelona. So City have Real Madrid and Dortmund from that. The other two of their pot one.
Yeah, I'm a little bit behind. So I'm still looking at Dortmund, and they've obviously got Inter, City, Juve, Spurs, Athletic Club. So that's difficult for Dortmund. That is.
Yeah, definitely. That's a tough group. Liverpool are next. And as we saw, they will play Real Madrid at home and Inter Milan away, but we knew that already.
Big game for TK, Jules, Frankfurt.
Yeah, imagine that. And my feed has stopped working on my big TV, so I'm not sure exactly what's happening. It's just lagging a little bit.
Well, I'm on Zlatan. Pulling that Liverpool. I'm about 10 seconds behind.
I will tell you who Liverpool
go to Frankfurt, so obviously TK is back to Frankfurt.
Wow.
Yeah, you knew this was going to happen. You knew this.
Amazing, these scripts, isn't it? Yeah. Amazing scripts.
Oh, we've lost Jules.
So I'm looking at Liverpool's now, Oggy. Real Madrid, Inter, Atleti, Frankfurt, PSV, Marseille, Karabag, and Gala away.
Yeah, I mean that away trip to Galatasaray. You never know what it is, but that is a tricky one, is it? That's always awkward. We've got Barcelona, Newcastle.
Wow.
You remember the famous Newcastle-Barcelona game at St James's?
Was it? Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, was it a Asprilla hat trick?
It was a Asprilla hat trick.
Yeah, I think that's where the last time they played Barcelona at St James's. So a lot of memories for that game.
Yeah, Zlatan's just pulling out Barca now. So as I said, we're a little bit
behind. So for Liverpool, because I also disappeared. Real Madrid, Inter, Frankfurt, Atletico Madrid, PSV, Marseille, Karabag, and Galatasaray. So not easy as well. And for Barcelona, PSG and Chelsea, but we knew that. Frankfurt, Club Brugge, Olympiacos, Slavia, Copenhagen, and Newcastle away done. So Newcastle, Barcelona at St. James's Park. That's tasty.
That is tasty. I mean, Oggy's just reminded me, I think the last time Newcastle beat Barca was when Tino Asprilla, I think, scored a hat-trick.
Yes, that's right.
So, yeah.
The atmosphere is going to be amazing for that.
Will he start be playing for Newcastle? That's the question.
Yeah, big question.
That's one way to get the fans back on his side, is it done to become the new
Asprilla? Well, I've heard a little rumour that he's refused to play for Sweden and he's told his agent he wants to play for Brazil instead.
PSG, the champions, have been drawn as well. And they have Bayern and Barcelona for Pot A, Atalanta and Bayer Leverkusen from B, Tottenham and Sporting, and Newcastle and Athletic Club de Bilbao. So two English clubs again for PSG, Tottenham and Newcastle.
Do you want to be going back to St. James's Park, Jules? After what happened last time?
I don't know yet. I haven't seen if it was home or away, but this is a tough group again, I think.
It's in Paris.
Oh, yeah.
Paris. Okay, so you coming to us. It's good. You've got great memories there.
Revenge.
Big revenge. And Athletic Club de Bilbao, I don't think it would be easy, to travel for the teams that travel there.
That's a difficult group, that, for PSG.
Yeah, I like it.
Jules, Man United winning Bilbao last season. Come on.
Yeah, that's true.
They struggled to beat Rangers. I think that's
Manchester City, Dortmund and Real Madrid, we knew that. Bayer Leverkusen from Pot 2 with Villarreal, Napoli, Bodo Glimt. Let's hope for City this is not in December or January. Galatasaray and Monaco. This looks like a tough group for Monaco.
Ten Hag back in Manchester.
And that's right, yeah.
Not been a good start though, has he, Ten Hag? He's had a difficult start so far at Leverkusen. It's not going too well.
He's got a higher win percentage than Amorim, though.
Lost a lot of players.
Yeah, it's not looking good for them.
Signed Vasquez, though. The young Vasquez.
34 years of age. City will be away to Bodo Glimt. So if you're a City fan and planning to travel to see Santa and skiing in the North Pole, this should be in match day 6, 7, or 8. So quite late. So again, it could be very cold. And you'll have the snow. And you'll have the night pretty much the whole through the day. So that would be a pretty special experience.
Jules, City Monaco. I mean, obviously Monaco have got an interesting team. They signed Paul Pogba. I mean, we remember the Monaco City game last time when Mbappe announced himself to the world. So 2017 was that? So and Monaco are a very dangerous dark horse to watch this time. Are they going to be a bit flaky?
Yeah, I think it will depend a lot if Pogba comes back and what kind of level. If Akliouche, who's been linked with City, is still staying. or not, potentially they could beat. I think on there, they're pretty much anybody. They could be that good, but they're also very inconsistent. So I don't think it's too much of a trouble for City. Dortmund, you would think City would be favorite. Real Madrid, difficult. Bayer Leverkusen, we said, poor. Villarreal, City should win. Conte and Napoli could be a big test for City, and then Bodo Glimt,
Kevin De Bruyne, mate.
Monaco. Yeah, and Kevin De Bruyne, of course. So we've got Ekitike going back to Frankfurt, but that's not as good as Trent going back to Liverpool and De Bruyne playing against City again.
Do you know what that game is? Is it City in Naples or is it at the Etihad?
I don't know. Let me double check where City, if City are home or away against
City
at home. Yeah, City at home.
That's a De Bruyne loving that now, isn't it?
Oh my God! Surely they would have the statue ready, Oggy. Make that happen.
They'll have the Bruyne statue ready, but they'll have a welcoming committee for McTominay and maybe Rasmus Højlund as well, and even Kobe Mainoo. It could be a Manchester reunion for Napoli against Man City.
That's very true, man. That is very true. That's exciting. We've got a good draw. I mean, if we recap, I don't know if we have the time, but maybe quickly to recap before they go into the teams in pot 2. But for Bayern, they will have big game against Chelsea and PSG and Arsenal. Chelsea will face Bayern, as we said, Barcelona, as well as the big game also Atalanta there. Real Madrid would have City and Liverpool, so Trent reunion. Inter Milan have a tough game with Liverpool, Arsenal, Atletico, and Dortmund. Liverpool, as we said, Real Madrid, Inter Milan, Frankfurt for the Ekitike derby, also a bit of Monaco and Marseille, so a bit of French test for Liverpool. Barcelona would have PSG and Chelsea, Frankfurt, I can't read my writing, maybe Club Brugge, and Newcastle, of course, the big game, St. James's Park, Newcastle against Barcelona. PSG will have Bayern, Barcelona, Atalanta, another team I can't read, but also Newcastle and Spurs, which is pretty cool. And for City, we've just mentioned that they will, including being away at Bodo Glimt, all the way to the North Pole. So pretty good start, I think, of this draw.
Yeah, absolutely. It's I think City have probably got the best draw for the big teams. I think looking at City's group, I don't think they'll be too concerned about that one.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a really good draw for City. And again, last season they had their struggles in the Champions League, where in a fixture list that looked decent for them, certainly on paper, and just didn't work like that. So we know now that there's not much that you could, I think, preview so early in the season.
Who do you think's got the toughest draw so far?
I think Dortmund have a tough draw. Really tough draw for Dortmund. But we said, I think they were the weakest team of that pot 1. And I think, again, for PSG, I think it could be quite tough. And for Liverpool, there will be some tricky games there with, the likes of Marseille and Monaco, which Liverpool will be heavily favourite. But you just don't know on a European night.
It's a funny one, isn't it? Because, if you're the bigger sides with this new format, you'd like to think there's a bit of wriggle room. And we saw that last season with PSG. There's a lot of wriggle room. If you lose a couple of games, it's not the end of the world. In the old format, if you lost your first couple of games, you would be struggling to qualify. So it does give you that little bit of room to maybe navigate through in different performances. Yeah,
no, you're right. From pot 2, Bayer Leverkusen at the first one out, and they would get PSG, Man City. We knew that. But also Villarreal, Benfica, PSV Eindhoven, Olympiacos, Newcastle for you, Don. So Newcastle, Bayer Leverkusen and Erik ten Hag. And Copenhagen as the kind of the weakest team. Nice Arsenal being drawn. So let's see who Arsenal get. We know already who from pot 1 they've drawn because it's Bayern and Inter. We knew that. Bayern at home and Inter away. If you're an Arsenal fan and fancy a trip
That's a good draw for Arsenal.
To Milan again, because obviously they went there and lost 1-0 last season in the league phase 2. Then Atletico de Madrid, Club Brugge, Olympiacos of Marinakis, Slavia Prague, Kara Almaty at home, so you don't travel all the way there, but they come to you, and Athletic Club de Bilbao. So I think a good draw from an Arsenal point of view if you're an Arsenal fan.
I mean,
Harry Kane back against the Arsenal.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Harry Kane as well, back in London against the Arsenal, and you can go away to Slavia Prague for a romantic midweek trip, Oggy, if you want as well.
I went to Prague last year. It's it's okay. It's a bit cold.
It's too cold for
not
you.
When West Ham were there, lad.
Here we go.
Go on here,
Atalanta are the next one. Chelsea and PSG, we knew that. Club Brugge, Frankfurt, Slavia Prague, Marseille, Bilbao, and Union Saint-Gilloise. So again, those clubs are less interested for us unless they play an English team, which is the case for Atalanta against Chelsea. They lost Gasperini, who was not just the manager, but potentially probably their best player in that sense, if you see what I mean. So it's a bit tricky for them because they are tough clubs there, I think, for Atalanta with Chelsea and PSG, but also Frankfurt, Marseille, Athletic Club de Bilbao. It won't be easy. Benfica are next, Real Madrid and Chelsea, but also Bayer Leverkusen, as we knew, Juventus, Napoli, Ajax, Newcastle done.
Yeah,
so Benfica, Newcastle.
So behind, I'm lagging. So tell me who Newcastle, yeah.
And Karabakh. So that's a hell of a draw for Benfica. Listen to this: Real Madrid, Chelsea, Bayer Leverkusen, Juventus, Napoli, Ajax, Newcastle, and Karabakh as, I guess, the weakest link. But Benfica will come to St. James's Park as well.
Yeah, that is a tough group, though. Like you said,
that
is a very, very tough group.
You just see Bruges come out with Jules and Barca, Bayern, Arsenal, Marseille.
I mean,
Bruges are quite decent. You know, Bruges had a good run last year, didn't they? They got to, I think, the quarterfinals, was it? Or maybe they ran to 16 and they hammered Rangers. I mean, I know Rangers have had a difficult start, but to score 9 goals in 2 games.
Yeah. It's a tough group for them, though. That.
Yeah, but, you know.
They've lost some of their best players, too, in Talbi, who went to Sunderland. I mean, Solis might leave the club as well. Ordonez, maybe, too.
There's another boy there, Van Hacken, who's been brilliant for about 2 or 3 years.
Yeah. He's there like main guy, isn't he?
Yeah.
But Barcelona, Bayern, Arsenal, Atalanta, Marseille, Monaco, is that stuff for Bruges. Frankfurt and former Ekitike club, of course, and we said Liverpool were there, Barcelona, we knew that, but also Atalanta and Spurs. If you're a Spurs fan, you will play against Frankfurt. I don't know yet if it's home or away. Napoli, Galatasaray, and Karabakh are also coming up for Frankfurt.
I went to Spurs game in Frankfurt last year because that was the game when we thought Andrew was going to lose his job. We thought Spurs were going to bottle it in Germany and that they'd lose. And they put in a great performance, you know, real kind of backs to the wall. And that was basically the start of their run to the Europa League glory. So happy memories for Tottenham fans going back to Frankfurt.
That was probably Andrew's finest performance, wasn't it?
Yeah.
In terms of going there with a good Eintracht side and the way they defended for the last 50 minutes. Very impressive.
I mean, Eintracht are interesting. Obviously, they had Marmoush last year and let Ekitike go. They obviously can find players, you know, so whether they will unearth anything decent again. They've got a great record. Colin Milani years ago as well, so they know how to find a player.
Yeah, that's very true. And they have made some good recruitment as well to replace those players that you mentioned and who are left. So it'd be interesting to see how good they can be, although they will be outsiders in a group like that. Atletico Madrid are next. Inter, Liverpool, we knew that, but also Frankfurt and Arsenal, we knew that as well. Bodo Glimt, PSV, Union Saint-Gilloise, and Galatasaray for Atleti. With Atleti, you never know, Oggy, right? Because they can be good on one day and then terrible the next.
Yeah, and they had a pretty difficult group last year, or list of fixtures, but managed to get through. I don't know. I just think that maybe their peak has passed under Simeone, hasn't it? They're not quite the power they were maybe 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, I agree. We had Juventus as well somewhere, although I can't remember who they're playing, and I didn't have time.
I've got Juve's here, Jules. They've got Dortmund. They've got Dortmund, Real Madrid, Benfica, Villarreal, Sporting Lisbon, Bodo, Paphos, and Monaco.
Yeah, so that that could be a bit tricky as well for them. I mean, not so much for Paphos, but there's a few tricky games there, like Benfica, like Villarreal, like Monaco as well, I think, from Igor Tudor and Juventus. Villarreal were next.
Going off piece slightly, Jules, a couple of West Ham boys are reporting they really want Jose Mourinho at West Ham.
Really?
Oof.
I mean, last season already, remember? Last season he was linked with them.
They don't have much luck with managers. I mean, look, let's be honest, they shouldn't have got to do with David Moyes. They brought in Julen Lopetegui, had a near miss with Ruben Amorim, and then they got Graham Potter, who, you know, is having a shocker. Yeah. So, as Eric Ten Hag likes to say, they'd be better off with Harry Potter, but Mourinho to West Ham, I can see Mourinho to West Ham.
I want to see that happen.
Is that the story so far? Trent going back to Anfield? Is that one of the mini stories so far?
Yeah, I think Trent and De Bruyne. I think they're the big two, aren't they? Yeah, I think the welcomes that they'll get will be very different. I think, yeah, like you say, Don, I think Trent might find it a bit tricky.
Yeah,
Kevin De Bruyne will be kind of smothered with love at the Etihad.
Yeah,
But,
it'd be like a tribute, proper tribute for KDB.
Yeah.
Trent, maybe not so much. A few boos.
Be quite sad that Jules, if he goes back to Anfield and they give him a tough time. I understand that and understand the rivalry, but I don't know. I just think he was that good for Liverpool. Maybe it was the way that he left. I'd like to think he'd get a good reception. I'd like to think the Liverpool fans would show their class.
It's interesting, isn't it? I mean, look, Liverpool fans have really turned on Trent over the past few months because he left. But what would happen if he signed for Liverpool? How would they greet him, considering how he's behaved at Newcastle? Hypocritical, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we'll have pot 3 being drawn very soon, but because of the way this works, already most of those teams those teams in pot 3 will face already, because they've already been drawn with pot 1 and pot 2 teams. So we have a good idea already who some of those teams would be facing. Like Ajax, for example, who are in pot 3, or Spurs. We already have 4 of the opponents. But let's find out, especially for English clubs like Tottenham Hotspur, who they will face. It's big for Thomas Frank as well, because he's never obviously coached at that level. Champions League is new for him. And as we know how pragmatic he can be, but the Premier League and the Champions League is 2 very different competitions, right?
Well, I can remember, Jules. I remember when, obviously, Aston Villa got in the Champions League last year and they struggled every Premier League game after match day 1, and Newcastle in the group of death. I think that year when Newcastle were in the Champions League, I think we finished 9th or 10th. So it can't, if you've got a small squad, which Tottenham have got, it can't have an impact on how you do that season in the Premier League.
Just one thing to stress to the guys, just while watching this, obviously we're all hoping and wondering what the fixture is going to be. UEFA are saying it's going to be Saturday before we know what the match list is going to be. So we're not going to know for a couple of days yet who you're going to open up against, who you're going to finish against. So people be patient until Saturday before you can book your trip somewhere.
Yeah, that's a very good point. They usually wait for the Friday draw of the Europa League and Conference League, so they can manage. Sometimes you've got 2 clubs from the same city that play, one in the Europa League on Thursday, one in the Champions League. So you have to work all those things out. That's why it's probably, Oggy's right, Saturday morning until we will know exactly what are the fixtures for match day 1, 2, 3, etc.
And we've got 3 London teams in, which is unusual. So 3 London teams in the Champions League means there's a lot of there's so many issues that you have to kind of factor in when you're deciding fixtures. Obviously, Tottenham and Arsenal can't be all on the same night. So
no, exactly. And we have 2 in Manchester. Oh no, sorry. Sorry.
You might get in by the back door.
Listen, United playing Carabao Cup. Oh no, they're not.
Marseille are the first one from pot 3, and I don't like them, obviously. But Liverpool and Real Madrid, we knew that already. Atalanta, we knew as well with Club Brugge. But they will also have Ajax, Sporting, and Newcastle. Marseille.
Wow, where at?
Wow, coming to Newcastle.
Oh,
Marseille,
wow.
That
will be an incredible atmosphere.
I was there in 2004 when Drogba played so well against Newcastle in that UEFA Cup quarterfinals, and Marseille beat you. Marseille went to Tottenham away 3 years ago when they were in the Champions League, and this time they're going to arrive at St. James's Park for a pretty special night, I think, and good atmosphere.
Yeah, and one of the journalists just on social media reporting that Newcastle might sign Nick Malde from Stuttgart.
Yeah, Bayern tried and could not get him. So let's see.
On Marseille, where's Rabiot going to go, Jules? Who's going to sign Adrien Rabiot this week?
I don't know. Let's hope that Veronique can work something out. His mum, Tottenham has been drawn, boys, and they will have Dortmund and PSG. We knew that. Villarreal, Frankfurt, Slavia Prague, Bodo away, Copenhagen, and Monaco. So not a bad group if you're a Spurs fan. Yeah, you would take that, I think.
The semi-final of the Europa League last season, wasn't it? Bodo.
Yeah.
So
on a plastic pitch, and that's the way. Again, it could be early.
That's
or it could be late.
That's a good group for Spurs.
Very good. I think that's a very affordable group to qualify, maybe even directly for the last 16. Not even going through the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Newcastle at home to Marseille, Jules, or away to Marseille?
Yeah, Newcastle at home to Marseille.
Home.
Yeah, and Spurs will travel to Monaco and their crazy fans. So book. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But it's a good day out in Monaco.
It's the Eric Dyer, another Eric Dyer derby. That's the
Eric
kind
Dyer
of
derby. Eric Dyer as well. You're right.
lots of romance in this draw with all these.
So much. Oggy, we know you love romance. We know you're romantic at heart, really.
Absolutely.
That's a good game to go to, by the way. Monaco, Tottenham.
That stadium, though, come on, Jules. There's no atmosphere. That's probably the worst stadium in Europe.
I know, but it's not a city, really. I mean, if this game is played in the winter, this Monaco Spurs, they've got 6,000 people living in Monaco in the winter. You can't even fill the stadium with the people who live there.
You rent out your apartment.
Stadium, Oggy. At least it's their stadium. And I'm thinking West Ham. Ham even own their stadium.
Bodo Glimt, who are next? I mean, we don't really care who Bodo Glimt get, apart from English clubs. So Man City and Tottenham, as we know, will play Bodo Glimt. So will be Monaco and Juventus and Slavia Prague, I think, or so. But good luck if you have to travel all the way to North Pole. Although, again, it's an experience. So
Bodo, did they hammer Roma 2-3 years ago?
Yeah, do you remember? Jose Mourinho's Roma, by the way.
It's a tough place to go. I mean, Spurs made it quite easy, but Spurs made it look easy. A lot of people have. So Bodo could be a tricky away game.
That's absolutely true.
I'm
Sporting are next. Who have PSG, Bayern, Club Brugge, Juventus, Marseille, Napoli, Athletic Club de Bilbao, and Caira at home, at least. But that's a tough group for Sporting. Again, not that we care that much, but it's still a tough group for them. We feel a bit for them.
I mean, you mentioned Dortmund's group before, Jules. I mean, looking at PSG's group, Bayern Munich, Barcelona, Atalanta, Leverkusen, Spurs, Sport, and Newcastle Athletic Club.
Yeah, no, it's not easy.
Is that PSG?
Yeah, PSG. Yeah. It's not easy, you know. The Bayern-Barcelona game, obviously tough. Atalanta, let's see what happens on the Eurich. That's the Eurich that you remember from Southampton. Leverkusen is the Dutch guy. Spurs with Thomas Frank, as we said. Sporting, okay. Newcastle would be tough. And Athletic Club de Bilbao. So yeah, it's not going to be easy at all. Olympiacos have a tough group because they have both Barcelona and Real Madrid, which we knew as well. Leverkusen and Arsenal, PSV and Ajax. So they have 2 Spanish clubs, 2 Dutch clubs as well for Marinakis and Olympiacos, which is not going to be easy. Again, let's see who Napoli will draw from. I mean, they're not next. It's Ajax being next. But Napoli will be interesting to see who they get from 4, especially, because that could be a tough trip. For Ajax, Inter, Chelsea, we knew already. But Benfica, Villarreal, Olympiacos, Marseille are already there. Galatasaray and Karabakh are the other 2. So again, even for a team like Ajax, it's not too bad. And Johnny Eitinger as their new head coach, it's not too bad of a draw. Newcastle against PSV Eindhoven.
Wow, Romano's saying breaking news. Newcastle signing Molde.
Oh, wow. I mean, that means Frankfurt would have said no to Bayern.
Wow, final stages of the contract.
Wow, that is good. He's a really good player, but he's very raw. You know, he's very raw. He's very young, very unusual player because he's like 2 meters tall, but still very good technically. Can even play wide. That's played wide at times with Frankfurt last season, with Stuttgart. Sorry,
that's very left field.
Stuttgart was playing centrally. So, yeah, interesting signing. And is that
replacement?
Or you know what happened with Isak if they keep Isak?
You know what happened? Someone will in gazump Newcastle and miss out on another one.
Stay positive. Stay positive.
Yeah, but they got a Champions League draw now as a selling point. I mean, that is a big thing to players. They can actually look at the fixtures now thinking, I'm going to go to Newcastle and play against PSG or playing Barcelona. That will attract players, that prospect, and then they can leave next summer.
Should do, Oggy. Should do. Seriously, on a serious note, it should do.
Absolutely.
Or you can also look at it and say, like, I want to play for Liverpool when Trent comes back to Anfield. You know, I want to play for Liverpool when we play against Real Madrid and Inter Milan and Frankfurt and Monaco and Marseille, especially. You know, absolutely. That's possible as well.
Šeško could have been in the Champions League instead of down at Grimsby. Penalty taken number 10.
Yeah, that penalty taking debate will not go away, will it? I mean, that was a
How
straight.
can you have your number 9,
Listen,
75 million at penalty number 10?
There's no debate, Oggy. It's a disgrace that he was number 10.
I was watching the shootout from behind the goal at Grimsby last night because of where we were sat, and I was chatting to Danny Simpson, who was working there for METV, And as the penalty takers went down, we're actually, where's Sesko? And we got to the point thinking, is Onana going to take a penalty before Sesko? Yeah. And it didn't, just about. But I think none of us realised that Sesko had such a fantastic record at Leipzig.
He's great.
Very, very odd.
I mean, I said to Jules today, we worked together this morning, the only out I can give him, Oggy, is maybe when you're a young boy that signs for the club, that signs to Man United, maybe he was a little bit shy. Maybe he didn't put his hand up.
Well, maybe that miss in the 96th minute was in his head as well, because that was the one to put it away.
Yeah, I know. I'm just trying to find an out for the kids.
It's strange. It's very weird. Very, very weird.
It was one of many weird things at Grimsby last night.
Yeah. I mean, I know for you it was not funny, but for us with Don, it was quite an enjoyable evening. You know, we really enjoyed that evening.
There's a few memes going around with Amorim and his tactics board.
Yeah. As a football reporter, that was gold last night because it had absolutely everything. You know, it was
you were a bit like the Grimsby goalkeeper, like half annoyed that he knocked out the team that he supports, right?
It was a shock, a comeback, a penalty shootout. It had everything, and a manager saying some very bizarre things and doing some bizarre things.
What do we think of Napoli's group? So they've got Chelsea, City, Eintracht, Benfica, Sport, and PSV, and then finish with Karabakh, Copenhagen.
Yeah, I think that's decent. I think that's decent for them. Yeah, Conte would be happy with that. They would
Chelsea
be happy
and
with
City.
it.
Chelsea
and City, but then the rest, they can easily beat Frankfurt, Benfica, Sporting, PSV, and Karabakh and Copenhagen. So that's a really good for a team in pot 3 like Napoli. I think that's a good draw, you know?
Yeah.
So we'll have pot 4 now, but again, we know already 6 of the teams that each of those teams will play because of the way the draw has been made. So for Newcastle, we already know who they've got from pot 1, pot 2, and pot 3. Just remain the 2 that they haven't got yet from pot 4. But Newcastle so far, Don, looks like a tough draw, you know.
To be honest, mate, I mean, I was one of them when the Champions League draw was made, when they were in the group of death with Dortmund and PSG and AC Milan. As a player, you'd rather play these games.
I guess you also want to qualify, right?
Oh, no, of course, yeah. I mean, you want the happy medium. You want to play in the big games and you want to listen to that Champions League music and you want to qualify for sure. I mean, it's the age-old debate. What would you rather have, like a really easy group and qualify, or be a major player in the major games?
Yeah, no, that's true. That is true. And I think Newcastle would just be very happy to face anybody, right? Home or away.
There we go, Newcastle. Oof.
Yeah, for Newcastle, they will have Barcelona, PSG. We knew that. Benfica, Leverkusen, we know that already. With PSV Eindhoven, Marseille, Athletic Club de Bilbao, because they've just been drawn and they've drawn Newcastle away. And then one more team. There will be one more team for pot 4. Let's hope it's not one of the long trips for Eddie Howe and his players. That looks tough.
That is very tough.
So the team that won La Liga, that won
Eredivisie,
the Eredivisie, and PSG, the league and the Champions League. Marseille finished second. Athletic Club de Bilbao finished 4th. Benfica finished second. That is really tough. That is really tough for Newcastle. And they could have Kara Almaty and travel all the way there as another team from pot 4 that they could be drawing. So
shame they're not playing Bilbao away in San Sebastian.
They've avoided Almaty, Newcastle.
Oh, they have? Okay, so it will be Union Saint-Gilloise. So that's better one because even if you play away, I didn't see if it was home or away, but it will be.
I was going to say that, but I thought I'd leave it. Your pronunciation is far better than mine.
How much do you think Newcastle are playing for Votamalde?
80. That's the price. I would be surprised if it was less than that. Yeah,
85.
Exactly. 85. Wow, that's crazy. He was not even registered for Europe at the start of the season because they didn't think he would play that much. It's only really since December that he played. That's a lot of money for somebody who's had 6 months.
But the rumor is that's going to free up Isak, obviously, to go to Liverpool.
Well, then, it's either he's a replacement or...
I think they'll get him gone, Jules.
Yeah, you said that this morning. I didn't think.
I just think it's come to a point now. If you're the hierarchy who met Isak at his home, tried to persuade him, tried to offer him a new contract, he's obviously said no. I think everyone's probably got their heads together. Let's do the best now for Newcastle United. Let's not be emotional. Let's not think with our hearts. Let's think with our head. Let's get the money in. If it's 130 and sell him to Liverpool, because as we said this morning, Jules, he's not had a pre-season. So you get him back into the Newcastle squad. He's going to be away with Sweden for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Every chance he'll pick up an injury or, whatever. I've seen that movie before when players come back with an injury. So maybe it's just Newcastle thinking about the football club and go, right, let's just charge Liverpool much as we can get and buy the replacements and help Eddie Howe a little bit, because now, obviously, with Gordon being suspended, they're down to the bare bones.
I mean, Eddie Howe throughout the summer, I think you can tell that he's sick of the saga. I think he wants him out now. He doesn't want to waste his energy trying to rehabilitate him. But to make a point, by the way, international break next week. There's a fantastic game in Ljubljana next Friday. Slovenia v Sweden. Sesko, Gyökeres, and Isak all on the same pitch.
Yeah, if Isak plays, because again, I'm not sure he's ready to play.
No, he'll be on the bench.
International game, yeah.
Yeah, what collection of strikers are.
I mean, to be fair, if Liverpool sign Isak on the back of Frimpong and Wirtz and Ekitike and Gyökeres, this has to be one of the greatest transfer window in the history of transfer windows.
By the way, Arsenal have done quite well as well, but you're right.
Just going to say that.
And Liverpool have sold well, but they would have spent, if you take another 130 million for Isak, you're not far from $500 million spent just in one transfer window, Plus Gehi, if he signs as well, which looks likely too.
Yeah.
This is.
It feels like a few weeks ago, Florian Wirtz was the standout signing, which might take Liverpool to a title. But Eza to Arsenal, that's a great signing for Arsenal,
Yeah, I agree.
Amazing signing.
I agree. And if you're from Cyprus and you like Paphos, they've got Bayern Munich, Chelsea, Villarreal, Juventus, Slavia Prague, Olympiacos, Monaco, and Karat Almaty. So, as newcomers, you've got some big games, big teams there, which is pretty special. And also, if you just look quickly at the average coefficient of all the teams drawn by other teams from the pot one, Liverpool have the hardest fixture list of the teams in pot one, and Barcelona the easiest. So if you just look at the team that Liverpool have drawn, and we've mentioned them already, Real Madrid, Inter, Frankfurt, Monaco, Marseille, PSV, Karabakh, and Galatasaray, and just do the average of all the coefficient, this is the hardest group for the teams drawn in that pot one. So, it's a bit of a challenge as well for Liverpool. But again, they should be fine.
Paphos Cypriot.
Yeah. Yes, they are, yeah. Very rich owners from Russia.
Scored the winner right there for Liverpool back in the day. In the Cup Winners' Cup. Yeah, in the Cup Winners' Cup for Liverpool.
That is incredible.
And then we went to Marassi and played Genoa. Do you remember Franco, the left back?
Of course.
Brazilian. Scored one of the best free kicks I've ever seen in my life.
So when you played in Cyprus, did you end up in Ayia Napa, or was that just another time?
Yeah, of course you did. Before
that was in the summer, just after.
Right, guys, I've got to go. I'm going to write about this draw. So,
Oggy, thank you so much for being with us. And you can read Oggy's piece on the draw and everything on the website very soon. So make sure you check out the article from Oggy there, and everything else. Gab Marcotti is also in Monaco for the draw. So we have great coverage on the ESPN website about everything that's happened today. And Don, just the final thought for your Newcastle boys. As we said, it will be tough. Let's remind everybody of the Newcastle fixture list: Barcelona, PSG, Benfica, Bayer Leverkusen, PSV Eindhoven, Marseille, Athletic Club de Bilbao, and Union Saint-Gilloise.
Feels like, Jules, that is tough. That is tough.
It is.
But hey, listen, if you're Newcastle, embrace it. It's where you want to be, right? Champions League football.
Completely. I agree with you. Spurs, if you're a Spurs fan, Dortmund, PSG, Villarreal, Frankfurt, Slavia Prague, Bodo away, all the way to the North Pole, Copenhagen and Monaco. So you can be happy with that if you're
Spurs fans will be delighted with that draw.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely agree with that. Arsenal, Bayern Munich, Inter Milan, Athletic Club de Bilbao, Club Brugge, Olympiacos, Slavia Prague, Almaty at home, and Atletico de Madrid. Yeah. So I think that's a good draw as well from Arsenal.
Games.
Yeah, Manchester City have Dortmund, Real Madrid, Bayer Leverkusen, Villarreal, Napoli for the Kevin De Bruyne return to Manchester City and the Etihad. Bodo Glimt away in the North Pole, Galatasaray and Monaco. So a few tricky fixtures there.
Kevin De Bruyne is the story, isn't it?
Absolutely done.
Great story.
And the story for Liverpool as well is that Trent Alexander-Arnold will come back to Anfield because Liverpool will play against, let me find it again here. Liverpool, if you're Liverpool fans, you'll have Real Madrid, Inter Milan, Frankfurt, Monaco, PSV Eindhoven, Marseille, Karabakh, and Galatasaray. So again, some tricky fixtures.
Do you know what, Jules? Do you know what, Jules? Being a romantic, I'd like to see the Cop End put a nice tifo for Trent. Just do something nice. It's not going to affect his performance. You're not showing any weakness. I just think for the length of years that he put in at Liverpool, let bygones be bygones. Put a nice tifo or a nice message for him. I think it'd go down well. It would show a touch of class.
Yes, I agree with you completely. Let's hope that happens. And then finally, for the English club fans, Chelsea will have PSG, Club Brugge. No, hang on. For Chelsea, Bayern, Barcelona, Benfica, Atalanta, Ajax, Napoli, Pafos, and Karabakh. So some tough teams there.
That's a test.
Tough group, for Chelsea.
That's for those young players. Yeah, for those young players. I mean, the squad's big enough.
Yeah,
we saw that last year in the conference, but this is a test.
Absolutely, I agree with you, Don. And just a reminder before we go that we don't know yet when those games will be played. We will probably know on Saturday lunchtime or Saturday morning. So wait a little bit to book all your flights and accommodation. Even if we know who's home and who is away, we don't know yet the date. So again, check out the ESPN website on Saturday because everything will be on there. Don, thank you so much, mate. That was a pleasure to have done this hour with you on the draw. We hope you enjoyed our watch along for the UEFA Champions League draw for this season. And just so you know, the game week 1 is on September 16th. So that's a Tuesday, Wednesday 17th, and there will be games on the Thursday 18th as well. So in less than a month, we'll have the Champions League starting with some of those fixtures that we told you today. It's going to be amazing.